And welcome to another episode of Nourishing the Community Podcast. I'm your host, Norman Hanks, and in the hot seat today we have Dani with Working Mission. Hi, Dani. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thank you for having me.
We're so glad you're here. Dani, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Okay.
And the role you play with Working Mission.
Okay. As he said, my name is Dani Miller, and my husband, Billy, and I, which I already told Norman this, that we usually do this together, so it's just me today. But we spent a little over a year, with our three daughters, volunteering and serving in a country called Papua New Guinea. And when we were wrapping up our time there, Working Mission was started because of an email, and my friend Shannon hates for me to shout out her name, but it really is because of her. She emailed us while we were still in Papua New Guinea, and she said, I've started working with refugees here in Middle Tennessee, and you would be surprised at how many refugees and immigrants are here. And what has been interesting is I have had a hard time finding a lot of help, especially outside of Nashville. So at the time she was volunteering with an organization in Nashville, but just trying to find any English classes or just help outside of Nashville, you could see that it significantly decreased what was available. Well, Billy's a researcher, and he was like, let me look into that. And he started just researching and just led us down all these rabbit trails, but also kind of coming together of, wow, Tennessee has become a place where a lot of immigrants and refugees come to, and the numbers show that it is continuing to grow, and there's a great need. And I think that this is something that we want to step into when we come back to America. And so Working Mission started that way.
That's really cool. So I'm going to ask you something else, because
Okay.
you said a whole lot of things in there, and I'm excited to talk about them.
Okay.
Papua New Guinea, what originally got you there? That's not something you just wake up one day
I know,
and
right?
it's like, I'm going to go live in Papua New Guinea for a
lot
while.
of people are like, where is that? So it is a developing country off the coast of Australia. Honestly, like all things in life, it was a journey to get to the point where we said, you know what, our life was great. Billy had a great job with Amazon, working with their learning and talent development. I am a nurse, was a nurse working for Vanderbilt, but we had just gotten to a point where we thought, we feel like we want to serve more. We want to help more, and what would that look like? And the opportunity came to partner with a school in Papua New Guinea, and so we went and we served and we helped out in the school. And my husband did some job development and work with some of the men there to help them with some job skills. But it was really just kind of we wanted our girls, we have three girls, to experience life differently than how we did. Not that we had a bad childhood. We have great relationships, great families, but we just said, we kind of are living the American dream, and we want to do something else. We want to do something different.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so went to Papua New Guinea with three girls.
Mm-hmm.
How old
Yes.
were the girls?
At the time, they were 4th, 2nd, and kindergarten, so whatever those ages.
I think you people are crazy.
You know what? A lot of people said that, and my brother specifically said that. I support you. I support you, but you all are crazy. And it was life-changing.
Yeah.
It was the hardest thing we've ever done. We went during COVID, 2021.
That's
and
a great time to travel.
It really was. Yeah. It really was. We had thought maybe we'd get to see a couple other things along the way, but no, that was all shut down. So a lot of people said we were crazy, but honestly, it was just something we felt like the Lord wanted us to do, that we had to do. I don't know if you ever get to a point where you're like, I just need something else. I'm ready to do something differently. And so we stepped into that, and we said it was the hardest but most beautiful thing that we've ever done. And it was life-changing for us. And we hope that we will always be changed by that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, Trent, whatever that was, distracted me. The screen, a little thing popped up. Sorry, I get
No, that's
distracted
okay.
easily by weird random stuff. And we're back. So you came back to the States, and you were you grew up in Tennessee, is that right?
Well, I grew up in Kentucky, and my
Okay.
husband is from Alabama,
Oh.
but our adult married life has been here in Middle Tennessee, and we love Tennessee.
Right. It's
Who
hard not
doesn't?
to,
I don't.
right?
Yeah, we prefer it.
I get that. Yeah. I grew up in Tennessee. So you came back to the States and you came straight back to Tennessee
Mhm.
with the whole goal of starting Working Mission. Is that
We
right?
did. We didn't know exactly what that would look like. And, definitely like coming back and readjusting to life in America. And even just like, do we go get the same jobs again? As soon as we got back, Billy's former coworker had said, "You're back. I got a job for you, with Amazon." And he just was like, "I don't want to go back into that rat race, honestly." And he said, "No, let's lean into this." We prayed a lot about it. We sought counsel and wisdom, and we had several meetings lined up, and just reaching out to different leaders in Middle Tennessee. That kind of just gave us some direction with where to go, how to get started, and also just confirming, my goodness, there is such a need here.
Mhm.
Yes, we need this work, working with refugees and immigrants here in Tennessee.
Are you focused primarily in Middle Tennessee, or do you work
Yes.
with clients all over the state?
So we are specifically working with Rutherford County. Not that we only limit it to Rutherford County, but what we have found and what kind of research is showing, a lot of immigrants move to Middle Tennessee, and they may have started out in Nashville, but Nashville is very expensive to live in. And so they are moving out. And even the numbers from the 2020 census, which are not even accurate compared to what we have grown to now in 2024, it shows that Rutherford County has their diverse population is growing quite a bit. And so they're moving, not that they're not moving to other counties, but Rutherford County is a very large county that the international communities are moving out of Nashville and into now, since it's so expensive.
Right. It's horribly expensive, and Rutherford County is not
It's
much
really
better.
not that much better. It really isn't.
Yeah. And now you have to drive back into Nashville.
Yeah.
So let's get into some of the nitty gritty of what Working Mission does.
Okay.
So you're working with refugees and international peoples that have fled and come to us. What work do you do with them?
Okay. So we like to say that our mission is threefold. Number one is going to be that we are focusing on connections and meaningful relationships and mentorship. And that kind of, I said we had several meetings, and one of them that was the leader of International Leadership Coalition out of Brentwood. He kind of gave us some direction with, you can offer English classes, which we do, and I can talk about that, and job development, and even we have focus on food insecurities. But overall, we want them to know, I see you, I want to treat you with dignity, I'm glad you're here. That's not always the response that they get when they come here. I love you. And I want to help. What are some ways that I can help you in adjusting to life in America? I think a lot of Americans can be guilty of saying, well, you're here now, so you should be so thankful. And that's not to say that they aren't thankful, but there is a long process to go from all the things that they overcame in their country. There's a reason that they're not in their country anymore. And some of them, not all of them are refugees, but a lot of them have fled very hard, difficult situations, life-threatening situations. The stories are they're so courageous. And they get here, and sure, they're grateful, but they've had this flight or fight mentality for a long time, and it's very difficult to come to a point where you're like, I'm just so grateful to be here. Oh, there's nothing to worry about now. No, now you're starting over, and you don't speak the language, and you're trying to figure out, how do I provide for my kids? How do I put food on the table? How do I go get a job if I don't speak English? So number one, we would say, is relationships. And sometimes I think people are kind of, but it has been the overarching theme of, even when you're done with English class, we want to keep up with you. We want to know how you're doing. We want to walk this journey alongside of you. So relationships would be the overarching theme. The next one we would say would be meeting food insecurities, which you would know there is a great need. I think
Yes.
sometimes also there's a little bit of, we, not intentionally even, but we just have blinders to see that there are some very significant food insecurities, even here in a wealthy state like Tennessee. There are people that they are struggling to meet the needs of providing food for their families. And that may not be the case in every immigrant family that we work with, but it is a significant portion of what we work with. And so part of our story, when even though Billy was working with Amazon, we had I called it a hobby farm on the side, 62 acres, and that's what I would say. But it really grew so much. I was
That
like,
does not
I
sound
can't.
like a
I
hobby
can't.
to me, Dani.
It's not a hobby farm anymore, and it just became something that Billy became so passionate about providing quality food, and he did that on the side in addition to working to Amazon. So coming back and looking through what the needs were here in Middle Tennessee, the food insecurity, it really was part of our desire all along. Is we want to be able to meet these food insecurities, and we want to be able to do it with high quality food. And I can circle back to how we ended up with the land that we are on now. But having these agricultural projects like Chickens for Meat, Chicken for Eggs, we have goals to provide even more food like lamb, that's very popular in our Middle Eastern population, pork and beef. But those initially right now, our main focus is just chicken for eggs and chickens for meat. That's an easy win for us to be able to provide high quality protein. So meeting food insecurities. And then the third one, and the one that everybody can kind of be like, oh yeah, English. Providing English classes. We provide our English classes for free. We don't charge, but we do use a very high quality curriculum called Burlington English, and it meets all the standards and all the things that you would need if you're wanting to move on. It's a very great curriculum. It's good for our teachers to use. It's excellent for our students, and it costs us money to provide it. But we just believe strongly in being able to provide English lessons. And saying that, we also provide citizenship preparation. And I think people just underestimate, if you start to learn the language and then you've been here long enough and you meet the requirements to be able to pursue your citizenship, that's changing the trajectory of your family. That's changing the trajectory of your kids. And it opens up so many possibilities. Even if you aren't at the point where you can pursue citizenship yet, just learning the language and being able to pursue a better job, to provide higher quality of life for your family, for your kids, it changes families. So that would be the third focus that we have.
That's awesome. I'm going to ask you a question, and please know that I'm asking this not because I'm completely stupid. But I know that a lot of people, especially in this area, don't understand the difference between a refugee and an illegal immigrant.
Sure.
Can you help us understand the difference in those two things?
I think that the media has done a fantastic job of just really polarizing these communities and that word. So to be a refugee, you have to meet specific requirements within the government standard. And there has to be, it's not someone that just, oh, you're a refugee and you're here. No, there was a long process for you to go through and to be approved through the U.S. government to be placed here. And even where you are placed in the United States, that is determined through different organizations that partner with the government, like Catholic Charities. Of course, I'm blanking on some of the other names that are specifically in Nashville, but I think there's a group, a Lutheran group that does it, and then there is another one. There are like 3 big ones in Nashville. So you have to meet requirements. But also there are other ways that you can come to the United States and not be illegal. I think people just automatically assume that you can apply. Many of our Egyptians that are here in our classes specifically.
And there's a huge community.
Yes, there is a very large
community.
Egyptian community here. Many of them won the lottery. And before I started doing this work, we didn't even know that was a thing. So that's not a refugee status, but they won the lottery that was offered in their country from the U.S. government to be able to move here. And many of them are also seeking asylum. They have had death threats. They have had jobs and marginalization because of their faith or their belief. And so they are trying to pursue just a better life.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them come because they applied for a visa and they're allowed to be here.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not saying that there aren't illegal immigrants. Honestly, I don't ask because I don't care. I'm going to work with you regardless. If you're here and you need help, I'm going to help.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is Working Mission doing work to help people come across the border illegally? Not at all. We're not involved in that at all.
Right.
But the majority of the people that we work with, they're here because they pursued the right paths to come here and to be allowed to be here.
I think you're passionate about something.
I know, right?
I feel like I just got you on a soapbox. I'm sorry.
There is sometimes Billy has to be like, okay.
No, I love it. I love when passion comes out. And thank you for answering that. So one of your goals is to help with job trainings.
Yes.
Yes. Explain some of the type of job trainings that you do with your clients.
Okay. The way that we first interact with our audience and with our students is through our English classes. They come and we start just to form a relationship with them, and we're teaching them English.
Mm-hmm.
From that, it not always, and sometimes it takes 6 months, 12 months for someone to finally be comfortable to say, I want a better job.
Mm-hmm.
Can you help me find a better job?
Mm-hmm.
So we, as Working Mission, we are not necessarily employing yet, that's down the road, but just forming relationships with other organizations. Specifically, one very big one that has been so helpful with Working Mission is American Jobs, specifically the one in Murfreesboro. They have hosted, I think I'm saying this right, Jeff told me right, they hosted the first multilingual job fair in the state of Tennessee through American Jobs. Now, I don't know about other job fairs, but through American Jobs. Well, we were able to be a part of that very first one and to help bring some of our people that could help translate. So it's not necessarily that, we're providing jobs. It's finding out, well, what do you want to do? What are your skills? Well, let's see if we have any contacts to help you find a better job that's going to pay better or that's going to have better benefits for your children. So just being able to partner with other organizations, and it's not just American Jobs, but because of that connection, we've made several other connections, even with like Blue Cross Blue Shield and United Healthcare in their workforce development, being able to know what jobs are available and kind of direct our clients and our audience to say, hey, this might be a good career path. Many of the people that we work with, I'm thinking of one specific lady from Venezuela that was an auditor, and she had a very good job in Venezuela. Venezuela is not really a place you want to live right now. We have a very high Venezuelan population here in Rutherford County. She said that when she came, she had to start over, and many of them do. Their degrees, their schooling that they went to school, it does not translate here. I say translate. It doesn't. They don't get the same jobs.
Right. It doesn't transfer over.
Transfer over. That's a better word. So she had to start over, and she works for Walmart, and she delivers. And she said something so beautiful. We asked her if she would do a promotional video for Working Mission so we could get more word out about what we're doing. And she said, it is a different job than what I had before, but it is an honor to serve people. And I am glad that I have a job that I can serve. And I just thought, if only the rest of America thought, like, there's so much dignity in work and in just serving other people. And I thought that was so beautiful. But to be able to help them to find jobs that maybe they don't want to keep doing this. Well, what do you dream about doing? What's something that you would love to do? Well, let's help you pursue that dream. So again, it may not be us finding them exact jobs, but kind of partnering with other organizations to help them in this career pathway that they're on, that they can feel proud of the route that they're going.
Yeah, it's amazing. I remember I was in Smyrna one day working intake. I don't know why I was doing intake, but I was doing intake. And I had a gentleman come in, and he was from Egypt, an Egyptian man, and he spoke very little English, but he was a doctor in his country. Yes. And he cannot get work here.
Yep.
Because, of course, it doesn't transfer. And I'm like, how is that possible?
It's
have all of this
heartbreaking.
education. You've saved so many thousands of lives. How does that not translate? A body is a body, right? Sorry. I'll get on a soapbox too in a minute if we're not careful. So just a little story. You talked about farms, the farm, right? And proteins and the animals and all the things on the farm. Y'all do more than just chickens and chicken for eggs.
Yes.
So what else do y'all do on the 62-acre farm that you're on?
So that 62 acres, that was before.
That's gone.
So
You're on
when
a
we
much
came
bigger
back,
one now, right?
we are. When we came back, we said we don't feel like who can. It's so expensive to be able to afford. What we had in Wilson County. When we came back, we were like, whoa.
Yeah.
If we did that, well, then we can't do working mission if we try to buy land again on our own. We would have to go back to our other jobs. So we started out and we had 7 acres when we did our first community garden last summer. We had a community garden and we started out with some chickens for meat and chickens for eggs. And that it was a very small scale, but we were like, we're gonna start on these 7 acres that we were renting. Well, in a way that only God can orchestrate and that God can do, we had a local landowner that is a semi-retired doctor that reached out to Working Mission. He reached out to my husband last summer, and he said, I have heard about the work that you're doing, and I have a farm in Las Casas that I would love to be used to help people. I would love for it to be able to serve our community, and let's talk. And it was just really one of those things because we were like, there's no way we can afford a large farm in Rutherford County. We thought we would have to go further out and then just kind of still have our classes in Rutherford County, but have to be out because how could we afford that? And like I said, it's a way that only God can orchestrate because his name is Rick and Patty Garman. That started a conversation. They have 700 acres, over 700 acres in Las Casas. And we definitely had many meetings, many conversations to make sure this is something that we both were wanted that would work for Working Mission, that would work for them. They don't live on the property. They live in Brentwood, but have maintained this. It's been in their family, in Patty's family, for generations. And Rick has bought up other land around it. But in the end, and after we did, all the legal maneuverings and did the lease and everything, we now have 700 acres. And I think sometimes people are like, what are you gonna do with 700 acres? And we're like, well, we're gonna do our best, but we're gonna start out small. But how could we say no?
How do you
say no to that? So we took over that lease in February, and so we have started with we have a master gardener that comes out and volunteers this time, and he would be very upset if I got his numbers wrong. But we have planted, we should get over 5,000 to 6,000 potatoes whenever that harvest comes in. We have our community garden of tomatoes and peppers and corn. We've done that, but then we just this past Saturday finished planting half an acre of corn and several different varieties of squash, like butternut squash, things that can last longer once they come in. We planted over 1,000 watermelon seeds a few weeks ago on a 1/4 acre plot. Charlie has very big plans, and he's amazing. He's amazing, but it has been a lot of work, but it's just the beginning.
Right.
And that's why we've said, okay, well, now we have 700 acres, and we're going to keep doing what we're doing and helping with, we still give away our eggs and have meat that we're raising off. You have to raise those off in batches that we will donate. But this is going to open the door for us to be able to partner with other organizations. Nourish Food Bank, you guys have been wonderful to us and just encouraging us.
God, we love you so
much. But being able to donate more food to get it into the hands of other people, it's 700 acres.
That's insanity. It's
insanity, and it's amazing that Dr. Garman and Patty said, we want to do this. We all know how much they could have made if they wanted to sell their farm, but no, they wanted it to serve their community.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So with having the 700 acres in Las Casas now, are y'all still using your 7 acres?
No, we moved on property. So
Okay.
that was part of the deal but we would move on the property and help manage it and maintain it and just be there. There are still some existing animals and things that the owners have that they want us to manage for them. So that was part of the lease agreement.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I feel like there's so many questions in my brain. You were talking about partnering. You do partner with Nourish. You bring us eggs all the time, and we are so excited about that because eggs are hard to come by.
But they're so nutritious.
And they're
it's
so
such
helpful.
a big deal.
Yes. And our clients can do so many things with those.
Yes.
You know, I don't think people understand the importance of an egg.
Thank you.
You know?
I'm so passionate about eggs.
It's
and my
ridiculous.
children, my girls, they get so annoyed with it. Oh, eggs again, Mom. I'm like, no, you need to eat these. These are so good for you.
But it's so important, right? Like
Yeah.
you can eat an egg, boiled, fried, scrambled, whatever, omeletted, whatever. You can put it in cake mix and have a cake. You can make cookies with it. Like, you've got to have eggs.
Yes.
It's a staple in every refrigerator in America.
Yes.
You've got to have an egg. I love eggs. I'm sorry. I'm very passionate about them too. I just can't afford to purchase them for my clients right now. You know,
Right. I know.
$3 plus a dozen. It's insane.
Yeah.
So we're so excited every
Yes.
time y'all come in with eggs. But you also use your vegetables. Words are sometimes hard for me, which is great on a podcast. Vegetables you will also donate those when they start coming in, right?
Yes.
And do you have what other organizations are y'all currently working with?
Well, right now, it's us and it's Nourish Food Bank, and then Greenhouse Ministries. They've been very kind to us. They let us use their classroom space for our ESL classes on Tuesday nights and Wednesday mornings. So we would like to be able to donate to them. When it comes to food banks, like, do you have the refrigerated facilities to be able to store some of that? We have hopes that we'll be able to help out Stepping Stones. And even just some other ones as we grow and get to a point where we can be giving out more, that we're open to other partnerships here in Rutherford County. I will say there have been so many other nonprofits that have been so kind to us and just encouraging us. And just kind of even Heather Chrissy from Nourish, she sends me stuff all the time about, hey, this is going on and this is going on, or there's this opportunity. And I pass those on to our clients that we are also working with. It has been so neat to see this community come together in supporting all the underserved in our county.
Yeah. That's, Nourish has always prided itself on trying not to create silos, but open spaces where people can come together and work together. So, yeah, we love that there's an organization truly trying to help people out there. Brain just completely shut out on me. I'm sorry. Trent, I'm completely lost in my brain. Thanks. He doesn't care. He's doing a crossword or something right now. He's like, Norman's an idiot, so I'm just going to play. I'm sorry, Dani. I get distracted again and lost in my own brain. Oh, I know where I was going. Okay. So Working Mission is teaching skills, job skills across the board to your audience is what you keep calling them. So I won't call them clients.
I sometimes I get, I'm like, are friends? Sometimes I'm like, our friends. They're just our friends.
Everybody's our friends. Yes, I do that too. Yeah. And you're growing these vegetables and you're raising these animals for meats. Do y'all have plans at any point to do like a farm to table type restaurant where your friends can work and start making money and helping keep the farm running?
That was really our hope when we even first started with Working Mission and becoming a 501c3 was to be able to employ immigrants and to many of the immigrants that we work with. They did have land, or they had these small farms that they would use back in their home where they're from, their home country. And they miss being able to work. They miss having a garden. We have several of them that will come out and volunteer to help already, just because they don't have the opportunity in their apartment here or in their tiny yard. So long term, that would be, a few phases down the road. we would love to employ them. I don't know about a restaurant. Don't even say that to Billy because he's like, great idea. Let's do
So
it.
here's the problem. I've always had the dream of creating a food truck / restaurant space where I can employ my clients
Yes.
and give them on the job skill training.
Yes.
So that they can then go out and actually find work and not have to rely on us so heavily, while also educating
Yes.
the general public on who we are and what we're doing.
Well, so like even things like our eggs, our chickens for eggs, we would love to be able to grow enough to get enough funding. That's always the difficulty,
Always.
is it not?
Mm-hmm.
There's not enough grants that I could write or apply for.
Amen.
So we would love to get to a point where our chickens for eggs, that became a project for an immigrant family, like a paid, that we pay you to manage the chickens for eggs project. We have 8 hives for honey and just creating an ecosystem on the farm. We would love to get to a point where we could employ an immigrant to manage the beehives. And what's interesting, we also have one Syrian man that we work with named Ken. He had a pomegranate farm in Syria. And he's not the only immigrant that has told us, Tennessee really does have a climate for pomegranates.
Oh.
Now, is that something we can do right now? No, again, back to the funding. But we would love to get to a point where even just in our agricultural projects that we have, the garden project, we have, we are going to grow. We had quite a bit of sheep on our farm before we moved overseas. We would love to see that having someone learn to take care of the sheep, animal husbandry, that we would employ them to be able to learn that. And it's not just even so much big ag projects or processes, but doing a lot of the regenerative farming. So even learning those skills. So we have long-term goals and hopes that we would be able to even host some workshop classes to train more people on how to do regenerative farming, but to also be able to employ them. We will, coming back to the funding that no one wants to hear about, but you have to have it to survive. Part of our projects, we will donate a significant portion of what we raise, but we will have a farm store on location there in Las Casas to be able to sell some of our meat so that funding can just go back in to keep allowing us to provide our classes for free, to pay for our ESL teachers, because we believe that the work that they're doing is very important and they should be paid for that. So, yes, we have so many long-term goals. It's baby steps to get to there, but yes.
Yes, it is. So speaking of funding, if there are people listening and they want to donate or help out in any way, how can they do that?
Okay. You can go to our website, workingmission.org, and there's I think immediately the page that comes up would be, or right close to it would be a donate page. We would love for you to donate. We would love for you to be a monthly donor. That's where you really can start to budget what you can do with your projects, is when you have that monthly income coming in. I know that we have several people that they're like, I can't afford that right now, but they come and they volunteer. They come to, I didn't even touch about this, but it really is our favorite thing, is conversational English. So we have our English classes that we provide, but twice a month, Brass Horn Coffee allows us to use their facilities. Huge shout out to Brass Horn, because they were our
awesome.
first community partner, and we will forever be so loyal to them. They get all our coffee business. No, they allow us to use their shop after hours twice a month. And we come and gather and practice English. And people kind of underestimate how important that is. It's not just sitting in a classroom. It's coming and having a conversation and having to think and come up with words in a conversation in real time. And everybody's nervous. Americans are nervous and non-English speakers are nervous. And it's so beautiful. And it has turned into something where we've started bringing food. And then our different cultures bring their different foods that they want everybody to try, and they're so proud for us to try it. So even just volunteering to come be a English speaker to allow someone else to practice their English, that's a way that you could get involved. We are definitely going to need so much help with harvesting all of our vegetables that we have planted. That we post those on social media saying when our volunteer days are, or like just this past Saturday, we had I called it a planting party. Was it really a party? No, but it's fun to just say that. So maybe it can trick people into thinking it's a party.
It's going to be a great time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing in the dirt. Yeah.
Getting sweaty.
And a lot of people love that. I'm not that person.
I know. But that is a way that you could get involved with doing that. We will be looking for more ESL teachers in the future. You do not have to have gone to school to be an ESL teacher. Like I said, the curriculum we use is amazing. So that's something you could reach out to us about.
So if someone wanted to volunteer for any of these things, are they only going to find these opportunities on social media, which we will discuss in a minute, or is it on your website somewhere?
So that's a good point. We are literally in the conversations. We are so proud of our website, but we have grown so much in the last 2 years. We're in the middle of updating that, so it will reflect a little bit more of specific things that we are offering. One of the things that we'll probably say, and what we've done so far, is if you want to volunteer or find out more opportunities to serve or support, to email us at info@workingmission.org, and we can get back with you that way. Social media is a big way that we post a lot of the updates of what's going on, and we also send out reminders about, hey, we have conversational English this day and this day. So
okay, so here's a tricky question for you.
Oh, please don't trick me.
It's always the hardest one for me. Your social medias. You're on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok?
Only Facebook and Instagram.
Only
right
Facebook and Insta. And what is your handle?
It's Working Mission.
It's Working Mission for both of them. Okay.
Yep.
So if people want to find you, they can find you on Facebook, Insta, under Working Mission.
Yes.
They can find you at workingmission.org, which is your website.
Yes.
Are there links on your website to your social medias?
Yes.
Okay. So they can find you somehow in one of those three ways.
Yes.
And if they want to keep up with volunteer opportunities, they can find those on social media for now. Coming to the website soon.
Thank you. You say that so professionally. Yes.
I'm the most unprofessional person you will ever meet. And if they want to donate, they need to go to workingmission.org. The first page, I think it is the first page, because when I pulled it up before I got here, just to make sure I knew who I was talking to today, because that's who I am. I told you I'm professional. I think that was the first thing on there was the sign up to donate, and it does ask you for one time or monthly or I think annually. So go support. They're doing amazing work. Is there anything else you would like for our listeners to know about Working Mission before we end our conversation?
I guess I think that's pretty much it.
There's so much. I'm gonna have to go back and listen again so I can read.
I used to say, and I guess it's not professional enough, speaking about professional, when we first started having conversations about Working Mission, people would say, well, is there really a need? And I would say, have you been to Walmart? Yeah. And apparently that's not really a good response. But I hope that in doing this podcast and in all the conversations that we've had, one, that it just brings awareness, and that if you can just smile and make someone feel that they are welcome here, it goes a long way.
You know, Rutherford County used to be very welcoming to everyone.
Yes.
It's changed a little bit in the past few years, but we're getting back. We're bringing awareness, right?
Yes.
And continuing to open our doors and welcome new and different people in.
Well, we like to say, and one of our shirts says it, it's not a phrase that is unique to us. Every story matters. A lot of times it just takes you having to take the time to hear the story. And when you hear the story, then you say, I want to help every single time. We've not met anybody that has come to get started. They may have preconceived ideas of what being an immigrant or how you got here, what that would look like. Often it's wrong. But they come and then they sit down at a table and then they hear the story. And one, it's very humbling because we realize, wow, in America, we are very blessed. And we came back to America from having lived in a developing country. And I said, I came back very proud to be an American, not in a prideful way, but just with the understanding of we have been so blessed. We've been so blessed that we have so much that we can give to other people. So sit down and hear a story so that you can see the dignity and the courage that people have had to come here and to start over.
Wow. Well, I'm going to end it on that.
Okay.
I mean, Dani, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's been great. I could talk to you all day. I may have to have you back. Thanks for the work you're doing. Again, it's workingmission.org. I would like to send a huge shout out to our producer, Trent Denson. Spread the positive, bringing light to what's going right. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.